Hello and welcome to Under the Silence. I'm Bianca Moeschinger. This podcast is a space where emotional truth rises, where the body speaks before the mind interrupts, and where the unseen stories within us begin to find form. Each episode is a reflection, a felt moment from the healing room, from my own body, and from the quiet spaces in between. If you've been following along with the last few episodes, chewing on the truth when the body says no, reparenting the self and the dance of life, you'll know we've been exploring the layers of listening to the body, listening to the silence, listening to what is ready to rise. Today we continue along that path, but we do it through the lens of faith, not the kind of faith that asks you to forget reality, but the kind that walks beside it, the kind that helps you meet what is there exactly as it is. In light of the Pope's passing, something stirred in me, personally, spiritually, and somatically. We each hold a level of conscious awareness. What that means is that we each have walked or journeyed toward our own relationship with enlightenment through experience, devotion, challenge, and growth, whether we're aware of it or not. The Pope's discipline meant that he lived in holy ritual. Every day he performed intentional ritualistic practice aimed toward clarity, enlightenment, and expanded awareness. This is not abstract, it is deeply embodied. His role was one of anchoring collective consciousness through a higher perspective, earned through a lifetime of devotion, humility, and deep presence. He was, in many ways, a global anchor for consciousness itself. And when his soul left his physical body, that anchor loosened and something opened. A wisdom, a field, a ripple of sacred presence released back into the world, and with it, unseen stardust, ancient, clear, mysterious, good, bad, indifferent, all of it returned to the collective for us to receive and respond to. I surrendered to receive what I needed from this profound world event, and still am. And the awarenesses that came to me were humbling, magical. I'm deeply grateful for his devotion. What he gifted through his life and passing is no different than what a yogi offers or anyone committed to becoming more of themselves. We are all anchors. We are all potential channels of sacred presence. And when we pass, we too offer something back to the world, a residue of what we learned, lived, and loved. The Pope has long held a symbolic role as a spiritual father, a container for global faith. With his departure, something sacred has shifted. I felt it like a release in the collective field, a ripple that opened a deeper silence, a vacuum of enlightenment, and with it, a sacred awareness that is now more available, more accessible to those who are listening. It's not about religion necessarily. It's about the space he held and what happens when that space opens. When something so large, so embedded in tradition and reverence falls away, what are we left with? The potential for a more personal experience of faith, a direct relationship with what is unseen but deeply felt. For me, this collective shift became deeply personal. Yesterday, during a session with a young woman who hadn't menstruated in over 2 years. Yesterday, I was working with a young woman who hadn't menstruated in over 2 years. Her cycle had disappeared quietly, and in its place, there was a kind of disconnect, a freezing of life force, a holding in the tissues that mirrored something unspoken. We didn't go in with the intention to fix. We created space, we listened, we sat in that sacred space between her mind and her body, the place where the chemistry lives, where memory and emotion dwell beneath awareness. And what we found was not easy. It never is. When we reach into the frozen, the held back, the disconnected parts of ourselves, we don't find quick answers. We meet the weight of everything that couldn't be felt before. But we stayed with it, and something began to shift. The system started to wake, the body began to remember. The emotional energy, disorder, confusion, grief, it rose, and with it came a return, a moment of truth, a quiet, sacred flow. Faith doesn't bypass this. It doesn't simplify it. It walks beside the realness of the experience, even when it feels like collapse. Because that's what healing can feel like. The walls we built to survive begin to fall. The structure we held up through sheer will breaks open, and in that collapse something else forms. Something real, something true. A structure that is rooted in flow, not fear. This is what psychosomatic healing is. It's not just breath work or body work. It's not just talking or crying. It's the weaving of past, present, and future through the chemistry of experience. It's energy in motion, or energy paused, sometimes frozen, sometimes withheld, sometimes silenced. And faith is the bridge. Faith is what lets us enter that space, not knowing what we'll find, but trusting that whatever rises, we can meet it. It is not the absence of fear, but the presence of willingness. As a psychosomatic therapist and emotional release body worker, I see this every day. A breath deepens, a tremor starts, a memory comes without language, and the body speaks. That is faith in motion. It is not about certainty. It is about staying, about choosing to face what is held and allowing it to become something new. Because when we let disorder rise, not to control it, but to witness it, we create the possibility of flow, the possibility of reconnection, of rhythm, of life. Faith is what brings us back, not to the person we were, but to the one we're becoming. Thank you for walking this path with me today. If something in this episode stirred something in you, let it move gently, let it be felt and not rushed. You can explore more of my work at biancamoeschinger.com or join our training community at psychosomaticsанdemotionalanatomy.com. Under the Silence is available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. Until next time, stay close to your breath, trust your rhythm, and keep listening. Bye for now.